Let's talk about my gastroparesis diagnosis. Earlier this year, I was diagnosed with gastroparesis, or delayed gastric emptying. And basically, what that means is that my stomach does not digest food as fast as it's supposed to. Food sticks around for longer, it doesn't get broken down the way that it's supposed to, and so things can get very painful, and it can cause a lot of nausea, and even some people get really, really sick from it. I haven't had really super severe symptoms like that, thank goodness. But let's talk a little bit about how I got diagnosed with this anyway. In March of last year, 2024, I got really sick one day. Like, I kind of just chalked it up to really bad food poisoning, but I kept just getting worse. Everything was just awful. I eventually ended up in the emergency room because the pain was really severe, and I was just worried that, something more bad, I guess, was going on. So they did a CT scan and basically confirmed that it wasn't anything that they could see. It wasn't appendicitis. It wasn't, nothing was showing up as an issue on their end. So they basically just said, go see your PCP, and if it gets worse, come back. Well, at the time, I didn't have a PCP, so I guess that's one good thing that came out of this, is that I started seeing a doctor that I actually really love. I made an appointment, got in, saw my PCP, and I was still having a lot of issues. Anytime I would eat, I would get really sick. Just feel really sick to my stomach. I would feel nauseous. I would be in a lot of pain. And it was just miserable. It was everything that I was eating was causing an issue. We went over basic stuff, the, diet and exercise, and we did a few more tests and things, and we actually caught that I had H. pylori, which is like a bacteria in your stomach that can cause ulcers and things. So that was in July of 2024. And so I started the regimen that they give you. It's some pretty strong antibiotics and antacids for a few weeks is what they have you take. September came around. I went back to work, and I started feeling really sick again. I started getting worse. And we could not figure it out. My doctor said sometimes, the treatment for H. pylori can take up to 6 months afterwards to kind of start to feel better again. But I wasn't feeling better at all after this point. I felt good for maybe a month after I finished the treatment, and things just started getting progressively worse. By the time I actually got in to see the GI specialist, it was December, actually. And then I had to, I was supposed to have my first meeting with my GI specialist at the beginning of December. But at that time, we lost one of my pets. One of my pets passed away. And on top of that, I found out 3 days later that I had COVID. And so there was no way that I was going to be able to go in and get to my appointment. And at this point, right, can you imagine? I've been sick since March. I have been nauseous. I have been feeling awful and horrible and not able to really eat anything, because every time I eat, I would just feel sick to my stomach. I just was upset and just really feeling very down about everything. So I had to reschedule that initial appointment, and I wasn't able to get seen until January of this year, beginning of January 4th or something like that. 3rd or 4th, I think, is when my appointment was. Anyway. So I go to this initial GI appointment, and first they say, let's look at the medicine you're taking, the food you're taking, and they're like, okay, this has been going on for this long, let's start off with a endoscopy, colonoscopy, just kind of get a baseline and see how things are going, make sure that there's no initial issues that we're missing. So we did that. It was January, 7th or 9th or something like that. Literally within the first week after getting that appointment, I was in the office and got my endoscopy, colonoscopy done. The findings from that were pretty, I felt kind of vindicated, because the findings were basically confirming, yeah, you're having a lot of, damage in your throat from your acid coming back up, and that you have, signs of like gastritis, which is stomach inflammation, but it wasn't currently ongoing, and there was no ulcers, so they were able to confirm, like, okay, there's no signs of things like that are really severe. So eventually what happened is they just started me on higher doses of acid medicine, thinking that like maybe it was dyspepsia or GERD or something like that. At one point throughout this entire process, I was on 4 pills of Nexium a day, plus having Pepsid in the evening right before bed. So literally, like, I'm taking acid medicine constantly, trying to, figure out if we can get this stuff figured out. And after like 2 months of doing that, my GI's like, okay, this is not helping, this is not working, let's go ahead and schedule you and check one more thing, which was my gastric emptying study. And the gastric emptying study is kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. What they have you do is they have you eat like this breakfast, and the breakfast has like eggs, toast, and like a little bit of jam. The eggs, they put like a radioactive isotope, something that they can view with the camera, and they basically scan you. They scan you throughout the day, and they kind of see how much is left in your stomach after a certain point. 30 minutes, then 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and eventually 4 hours after when you first started eating. So I basically got to sit in the hospital all day and read my book and, get the day off work. So it was kind of fun. That was April 9th, and literally the next day my doctor called me and was like, hey, you have what is considered like higher end, moderate gastroparesis. And so what my end result is basically a normal person at the 4-hour mark of this study, right, is supposed to have less than 10% of this food left in their stomach. And I had 34%, which is, in order to be considered in the severe category, it has to be greater than 35% remaining in your stomach. So, like, literally right there, what that means for me now is that my diet is a little different. The two main recommendations are low fiber and low fat, because both of those things stick around in your stomach for a long time. With already having, lowered stomach function, you don't want stuff sitting in there longer, because it's already sitting in there longer than normal anyway. Anyway, so ever since getting diagnosed with this, things have been pretty okay. I still feel like I'm at this point where I still have more bad days than good days. Gastroparesis is like a very specific, it's independent, it's specific to each person what their stomachs can and can't handle. And so we're still in the process of trying to figure out and experimenting with like what is good for my specific diet and in my specific case. In general, I feel like really thankful that I at least have an answer as to what's going on with me, because not having answers, being sick all the time and not having something to show for it, I guess, is really discouraging. It kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Now, as far as moving forward with my channel and things like that, I am still kind of taking it day by day. When you're dealing with a chronic illness like this, and you are having more bad days than good, when you do finally get a good day, you're recuperating from those bad days, right? Like, you feel icky all the time, and you finally get one good day, all you want to do is rest and recuperate from all of the icky bad days that you just had. As of right now, I am still unsure about where or what is going to happen with this channel. Because I am spending so much time taking care of my health and dealing with all of these changes within our life, I don't have an exact date or exact plans. I'm kind of just taking things as it is. So anyway, I just wanted to give this quick update. And just kind of check base with everyone, let you all know that I am still alive. I am still around, still kicking it, but I am just really, really spending a lot of this time focusing on my health and, I guess, general wellness. So, yeah, anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for checking up on me. I hope to get back to doing stuff on the channel soon, but, we'll just kind of take it day by day, I guess.